I went to school at Memorial Elementary. It was a segregated elementary school. Integration arrived in the early 60s. I attended Palmetto High School. I had never been to anywhere where I interacted a lot with white people. And when I went to school at Palmetto, I was hit full force with racism for the first time. It taught me to not only look out for myself, but look out for other people, to try to help other people. And I've just never stopped doing that. I worked for a bit as an equal employment opportunity coordinator. My lifestyle was, what I thought was a kind of regular, common lifestyle. I drank, I smoked marijuana, I did a little heroin, a little cocaine. And in my head, it was like, okay, but as we all know, that eventually catches up with you, and especially if you have a propensity for addiction. By 1980, 81, I was beginning to not be able to keep a job. I was beginning not to be able to pay rent. And the whole spiral of homelessness kicks in. And so those were very, very dark times for me. I was introduced to Harvest by someone who told my wife at that time to let me know that they were going to pray for me at church. And I found that a bit odd, to be frank, because no church had ever just prayed for me and not even knew me. I'd never even gone there. Somewhere in the back of my head, I said, boy, if this works, I'm going to at least go to that church. And I told myself that. I went to trial, and I was found not guilty. And for the first time, I kept the promise that I had made in jail. The jailhouse promises, God, if you get me out of this, I'll never drink again. God, if you get me out of this, I'll be sweet to my wife. God, if you get me out of this, I'll go to church. But anyway, I got out of jail and I went to church and I met Jim. And I told him about my experience and just let them know that I appreciated what they did in praying for me. Even going to church, I still would, get high. Until one day my wife went to Jim and said, Jim, can you talk to him? And Jim did. He came and he talked to me. He says, Jim, I think you might have a problem. And I said, no, I don't think so. He says, well, your wife tells me you spent $1,200 this weekend getting high. And I thought about it. I says, well, that's not bad, because I've been used to spending that kind of money for decades, just throwing it away. I saw nothing wrong with it. I was like, okay. And Jim looked at me like he said, you've lost your mind. He says, I tell you what, if you want to do something about this, I'll stand by you. He had just bought a house that he had not really formed a hard opinion about what to do with the house, but he had just bought a house. He said, I tell you what, we're going to put you and a couple of other guys who got some problems, we're going to put you in that house. You've got a place where you can try to get clean. And that's how I became one of the first residents at Harvest House. When I got clean, I had to get humble. First step, you have to admit you got a problem. After Harvest, I realized certain characteristics had to be valued by me. Perseverance, honesty, hard work, all of those things that I used to just sort of, no big deal. But no, they became like gold to me, really living that type of life so that eventually it became who I was. At that time in 1994, the face of AIDS was changing from gay white males to minority populations. It was because of crack cocaine, trading sex for drugs. And I knew that there was a need that was not being fulfilled. The HIV/AIDS organizations weren't equipped to deal with minority populations at that time who were substance abusers with mental health issues, perhaps. We started Genesis, and it was at that time called Universal Family Community to reflect the fact that we accepted everybody. I saw firsthand that there was a need for medical and dental services for people that were uninsured. Everybody paid below market fees to see the doctor. The hospital helped me with imaging, they helped me with blood tests and so forth. So we never looked back. And to this day, we still operate a medical program. Then professionals being professionals, the dentist looked at what we were doing. Said, why don't you have something for the dentist to do? Volunteer and help you. And I never dreamed that we could put a dental office together. It was just too much. And Dr. Larkin volunteered, Dennis Corona volunteered. They showed me how to equip the office. They helped me gather donated equipment and supplies. And we started a dental office. You know when people love you. You know when people can't stand you, okay? Even their words are saying, oh, you're sweet. You know, Harvest and the people who are responsible for Harvest have always been just pure love. People know when they're loved. That is what makes what Harvest does just so successful. Jim and Peggy Minor were a specific point. I can see an inflection point in my life. And that goes back to the love. No matter what I did, no matter what, they have always loved me, always. And they are such a pivotal inflection point because it was getting clean at Harvest that ultimately all of this could not be without that. As long as there's addicts, as long as there's people hurting, as long as there's a society that people are falling through the cracks, sure Harvest will be there, I'm sure.